Unleash the power of knowledge and connect with the heartbeat of the African diaspora. Download our African Diaspora News Channel app now on Google Play and Apple App Store. Stay informed with authentic and diverse perspectives, breaking news, and cultural insights. Immerse yourself in a community that celebrates unity, resilience, and progress. Experience the vibrancy of the diaspora at your fingertips. Don't miss out. Empower your perspective today. Search African Diaspora News Channel and join the conversation.
Do you know what really irritates me as an African living here in Canada? It just irritates me to no end. Is when I see my fellow brothers and sisters out here that came from back home and were very accomplished back there and came here to Canada thinking that they were going to get a better life, and they come here to create a life and then ultimately bring the rest of their family down, end up working in low-income jobs so that they can make ends meet. Oh, that really bothers me. Because a lot of the Africans I run into were doctors back home. They were lawyers back home. They were engineers, architects, and they were so accomplished back home. I've heard this so many times. So it just frustrates me to no end, because the system here in Canada, man, let me tell you, you're better off back home. And this is what this brother is saying. Take a look and we'll talk about it further.
Don't come to Canada if you're stable back home. It's not worth it. It's just a fleece. It's a mirage. And that's the truth. Some of us are here because we've decided to come. For example, coming to Canada as a consultant psychiatrist, I had my hospital, I had the money, I had my driver, I had everything working. I had 3 vehicles. I had built a house and I was living in a duplex. But why did I come? Some of us, we looked at it and we said, you know what? For the sake of my children. Canada doesn't program you to work and enjoy your work. The master that is paying you is saying, I'm paying you to get this job done. Salaries in Nigeria is better, you understand? Because I can be making an equivalent of $1,000 in Nigerian naira. The amount that I'm going to spend out of that $1,000 to get my house, rent, everything, may just be about 300 or 400. I have opportunity to save like 500 from my salary. But you can't try that here in Canada. You have to cut your coat according to your clothes in Canada. Because your rent, many things are competing. So it's like they give and they take. The system will take it away from you, from parking lots, from the toll gate. There are a lot of systemic discrimination that you won't see it as a form of discrimination because it's already systematized. It's already part of the system. They won't put it in your face. We call it systemic discrimination. It's quite huge, but it's hidden under laws, organizational rules, and co. But you will know that it's deeply hidden. But they won't put it and shove it to your face.
This brother is so right. You know, as a doctor, for example, coming from Africa, they have what's called the Foreign Credential Validation Program, and basically your certification back home has to match Canada's certification. Otherwise, you have to go through the whole process of getting recertified, and that can take a long time. So this brother is so right when he says, if you're stable back home, don't come here. Because he's right. You got to work 2-3 jobs. You can no longer live on a single income here in Canada. And if you're coming down and you're not even able to work in the trade that you're successful in back home, then you have to work twice as hard. And he's correct when he says systemic discrimination exists, and it's very difficult for Black people to get ahead. We have to work twice as hard. We have to constantly watch people from other races, particularly the folks, get further and further ahead while we're still in the same position. I always talk about the Black class action lawsuit that's going on due to over 50 years of discrimination and anti-Black racism. And so this is not uncommon. He also talks about, he's saying covert racism. He's saying it's hidden. And that is true, but more and more, overt racism is rearing its ugly head here too. And a lot of Black people are experiencing it. So you have all of that going on, and you're still scratching and scrounging and trying to make ends meet. And it's very difficult. The cost of living, the prices of everything, grocery, gas, room and board. The rental rates are insane. Everything is up here in Canada. So he's right. Don't come here. Stay in Africa. Don't think for 1 minute the grass is greener over here, because it is not. And when he talks about why a lot of Africans have left, because people do say, well, why don't you go back if you're, so unhappy here, if it's so hard for you? And oftentimes the mindset, like he said, is you figure you're going to do it for your children because you feel like Canada is the great Canadian dream and you can come here and have a better life for your kids. My parents did it. My parents were immigrants from Ghana, and they came here many, many years ago, and they thought that they would be creating a better life for me and my siblings. And my father was a skilled accountant. But when he came to Canada, he couldn't get a job as an accountant. So he worked 3 jobs. And I remember being a little girl and my mother getting us all together, 4 brothers and 2 sisters. So there's 7 of us. And we would all get together and go over to the window to see my father go by, because he literally had to pass by us from the first job to go to the second job. So we would all be at the window waving at him. So we had 3 jobs just to make ends meet and make sure that all 7 of us were cared for and didn't have to want for anything. So he worked very, very hard. That was in the 60s, way, way back. But fast forward to today, same thing is still going on. Nothing has changed. Now, with the Conservative Party, Pierre Poilievre has promised that he will make it much easier for doctors that are coming from other countries to get certified and get to work here in Canada. Because right now, there's a shortage of doctors. There's a shortage of healthcare workers. When you go to the ER, you're in the ER for 15, 16 hours. Sometimes you're there for so long that you even come back the next day, because who wants to sit there for all that time? And there's one ER doctor working while you've got 50, 40, 30 people at any given time waiting in the ER to see that one doctor. So that's how bad it is here. So I'm hoping that things do get easier, because I'll tell you what, there are so many skilled professionals in Africa that if they wanted to come to Canada would be a value add. And I'm not just saying that because I'm African, I'm saying it because it's a fact. So let me know what you all think about this. Don't forget to like, subscribe, share this content. Also, don't forget to download the African Diaspora news app. You'll have access to exclusive, wonderful content that you won't see on this platform. So you want to download that app. Also subscribe to my YouTube channel, The Black Experience with Emma Ansah. Until next time, please be safe, everyone.